Let's take a look at percentages in this video. Now, I am a nerd and I like percentages. I love converting percentages into fractions and vice versa. In fact, I recommend that you do this in your free time as well, as it will help you develop a number sense. With that, let's dive right into it. What are percentages? Percentages can be broken into two parts per cent. A cent is nothing but 100. Therefore, percentages represents number out of 100. For example, let's say you are given 1 by 4. Now you have to convert it into 100. That is, you have to make the denominator 100. How can you do that? You take 1 by 4 and you multiply the numerator and the denominator with 25, which gives you 25 over 100 or 25%. So that's just a basic percent calculation. Let's take a look at some advanced techniques that will help you get to the results much faster. For example, say you have to calculate 73% of 120. Now, if you do it the way you are taught in school, that is, you take 73 over 100 and multiply it with 120. It will take you some time to get 73 into 120, and remember, you cannot use a calculator. So this is not the right way. What is the right way? First of all, you calculate 10% of 120, which is nothing but 12, and then you get 1% of 120, which is 1.2. Easy to calculate. Next, you get 70%. 70% is going to be nothing but 7 into 12, which is 84. Similarly, you get 3%. 3% is nothing but 3 into 1.2, that is 3.6. You just add them and you get 87.6%. So that's it. Way easier to calculate than having to multiply 73 with 12. Keep this technique in mind as we move on to the next slide, and there will be an example towards the end where you will have to use these techniques. Now, I want you to go ahead and memorize the percentages on this slide. The reason being that they show up very often in GMAT and you should have them down by heart. If you know these percentages, your percentage calculation will be much faster. For example, 50% is half, 33% is 1/3, 25% is 1/4, 20% is 1/5, 1/6 is 16.67%. Now keep in mind that sometimes you might be given a round of number that is 16%, not exactly 16.67, but you should be comfortable in converting these fractions and percentages back and forth. That is, you should be able to convert 16%, 16.67% to 1/6 and 1/6 to 16.67%. Now take a look at the rest of the percentages as well. In fact, I recommend that you take a screenshot of this slide and memorize them. Here are some additional percentages as well. It's not enough to know that 1/3 is 33.33%. You should also know that 66.67% is 2/3 and 75% is 3/4. These are some of the most popular percentages of fractions that show up on GMAT, and you can get to other fractions which are nearby as well. For example, we did the 73% earlier. If you knew that 75% is 3/4, then you could get an approximate number for 73%, and a lot of time in quant estimates work. Let's take a look at an easy question. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try to attempt this on your own, then we will solve it together. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and solve this question. The question gives you a table which gives you the number of hospitals in a state and asks you the estimated number of hospitals in state A is what percent greater than the number in state D. Be very mindful of the phrasing. It doesn't state that what the number of hospitals in state A is what percent of state D is. It asks you what percent greater, so you have to find out the difference. State A has 410 hospitals, state D has 159 hospitals. Now don't go ahead and subtract a D from A and then use D as the base and try to calculate the percent. That will take much longer. We are not going to do that. We are going to use estimates. Now 200% of D, let's assume that D is approximately 160, of D is going to be double the number that we have, that is 320. Now the difference between 320 and 410 is 90, so we need something around that range. Now 10% of D is going to be 16, and if we go through the table, we know that 16 times 5 is 80, which is close enough to 90. Therefore 50% of D will be 80. So we have 320 plus 800 plus 80, which is 400. Now we only have 10 remaining, so but we don't have to go into the details of the calculation. We can see that there is only one option which is close to 150%. Therefore we are going to choose E, 155%. Now if you are wondering, we had 200% plus 50%, which is 250%. So why we are choosing 155? Now that is where the phrasing part came in. It is asking what percent greater, not what percent of. So the percent greater is going to be 250% minus 100, which is somewhere around approximately 150%.